Hello, guys. So, today we are at the World Delhi Book Fair 2026 and we have Miss Saloni Jain, the author of The Mirrored Life of Florence Abir. Hello, ma'am.
I am so excited to be here and to meet all the amazing readers, and especially my wonderful host. So let's continue. Yes.
As a debut, what is the core truth about loneliness you want readers to feel before they even meet Florence?
So one thing I wanted to highlight through this book also is loneliness doesn't exist when you are actually alone. Surrounded with the people you think you love or they love you, but still you feel like no one's there to actually understand you. So the lack of being understood, being heard, being seen is where the actual loneliness lies. So this is what I truly want readers to understand, that you have your own self, and how can we not just blame ourselves like something should be wrong with me, like that person loves me but he's behaving like he's not understanding me. So there's nothing wrong with you, but on the same note, it's you who has to take stand for your own self. So that loneliness I've highlighted in this book.
So, your happiness should not be dependent on anyone.
That's the brutal truth. No
Okay.
matter how much the other person is trying to keep you down or feel you upset about anything, the more you have to work on yourself and just let them be. I am happy in my own zone. Not happy, but you should be satisfied at least with yourself.
Today's generation, definitely a
Yes.
big message to everyone out there.
Yes.
What was the first image that defined the story? A cricketer standing in a roaring stadium or a boy staring into a silent mirror?
What I will say is physically a boy standing in front of the mirror, emotionally roaring into the stadium. That
Okay.
would better define the book if I just say in one line.
That's a deep, but it has a really good meaning to the thought as well.
Yes.
If you could step into a world where you felt absolutely nothing, no pressure, no emotions, no expectation, would you ever want to come back?
So no emotion, no expectation comes with a cost. That means no peace, no feel of being content, right? I won't feel good if I don't be, I won't be able to feel what happiness is if I've never been through the sadness part, right? So I can't actually feel all the amazing things, all the happiness, the feeling of peace if I don't cross the path of, I can say, the paths where all the negative emotion lies. So negative, I think, is important just to enjoy the positive aspect of something. So if I ever be in that emotions, I will of course use it as my escape mechanism. But I would definitely want to come back to the real world, feel the pain, and then enjoy the happiness. That's my take from this.
So nowadays, most of the people that we see into dating, in today's generation, many people believe in no emotional attachment and they try to act like, we don't feel anything. But certainly they might be feeling something. So what is your take on that? How should they cope up with that?
So what I want to say, especially to my dear audience here, is don't look for a coping mechanism. Don't look for escaping mechanism. The more you go inside of yourself, the more clarity you will get. So whenever you feel like you're not getting the emotional support, don't validate it from someone else. Just take a look inside, and maybe you will get the right help from inside. So don't try to run away from it. No, face it. Let it go. It's okay. It's your emotion. So you have to take good care of these. You can't just let them go. No, we cannot, because we are humans, of course. We have mind to think. We think all the time. Even currently I'm talking to you, but my mind is like somewhere else also. It could be thinking about the book, about you, about my birds here that's coming here, or I'm sitting here, right? So we cannot really run away from the emotions. We cannot really stop emotions. But what we can simply do is observe them, give them some space, and then see emotions are not always bad for you. They're all trying to protect you. They may be a signal, a sign. Okay, girl, if you do this, you might have a heartbreak. Maybe. So they are just a sign. They're just trying to protect me. They're not against me.
By the end of the book, do you want readers to fear Lawrence or, side with him?
What I truly want is to understand Lawrence. I don't want anyone to fear or pity him. No. I just want everybody to understand Lawrence. Because we all have our own Lawrence. That's so true. But what we do is either pity or we fear. So in both the cases, what we simply do, if we are pity, we feel like, okay, I'll do whatever Lawrence says. And if we are afraid of him, again we'll do just whatever he's saying. But we're actually not good. We're not actually doing what is good for Lawrence. So to do that, we actually have to understand Lawrence. So I'll just say to all my dear readers, whenever you read it and when you're done reading it, just understand Lawrence, and you will definitely, when book takes you through the life of Lawrence and life of Avi, you will actually understand Lawrence. So don't pity him, please, and of course don't fear him, but just love him.
I mean, you are so cute and pretty. I don't think any of your characters might be that fearing to anyone. Jokes aside, next one. Does the story speak more to those who are high achievers or those who feel invisible?
It's for both, if I'm being honest, because the one who are high achievers, they're actually lies behind. They're keeping themselves away from the real world, and they're hiding themselves also. They feel invisible with a layer of success. So it's for both. We cannot truly differentiate like I am a high achiever or I want to feel invisible. No. Even the people who are running after success, one reason could be they are running after success is to be invisible and to hide themselves with that successful image that they have made. So it's for both of them. It's for everybody, actually.
Correct. So guys, you heard her. It's for everyone. So do check out the book. How did you approach writing mental abuse and emotional neglect without glorifying it?
See, there should not be any talk even about it. Like, how can we talk about mental abuse without glorifying it? Because that's especially the regions where we live in, it's the most ignored topic, mental health. Nobody talks about it. You see a lot of gyms there, right? The moment when I was coming here, there were many gyms. But for mental health, I did not meet any psychology, the person who is into psychology and who can really help me untangle the wires that I have in my mind. So what we went through when we were growing up, of course, to some extent we've been through some mental abuse that we also ignored because we didn't know that it exists, or it's just part of culture maybe. So when we were writing about, I just need to recall all the anxious moments, and it's so easy to write then. Whatever I feel, whatever we feel, whatever I see my friends, my colleagues, or I'm seeing around happening in the world, I just imagine myself at their place, and then quickly anxiety comes to my mind. I can't even imagine being in the place where this is actually happening, right? And those anxiety actually forces me to take my pen and write. So whenever I write, I am writing that anxiety, like the outcome of mental abuse, not how we can glorify it, right? So whenever we talk about mental abuse, we talk about the outcome of it. We never talk about how this happened, what has actually happened. No, but what is the outcome of it? What damages it has done to the person, like that.
So as you told me that you imagine yourself at their place, how do you get back from there? So since you come from a working field and you yourself run a business, so how do you break that pattern and get back into the normal work mode?
Yeah, that's where the mirror lies.
Okay.
So I just imagine myself standing in my magical mirror. So what mirror does is turning off all the emotions. So I just go inside my magical mirror, turn off all the emotions. No emotions, no happiness, no sadness, nothing here. Just a clarity, nothing else. So that's where I can switch myself back to the real world from that imaginary world. But yeah, it's very tough because it does have an impact. I can say this is so true. Whatever I've written here in the book, sometimes I feel like it has happened to me, even though it hasn't, right? But once you write about it, you go so much into that world. It is, yes, very tough to come off of it, but we have to write the next page. So we have to come out and we have to write both the moments, the happy moments and everything. So that's what we do. Like, so go inside it, turn off the emotions and do it.
This is what writers actually do for their readers. They break their patterns, the daily life patterns, just to, to give us the feel of actual emotions.
Yes, true.
Hats off. The book suggests that our greatest achievements, like Abhi's cricket career, can sometimes be fueled by our deepest traumas. Do you believe pain is necessary for greatness?
Like, you might not like my answer here, but no. Pain is not necessary. It's not a necessity, but the sad part is it has become so deep rooted in all of us. Like, if we want to achieve something, we have to go to the tough part. No, it's not like that. It's not for everybody. But saying that, we can also say, like, if you are into pain, if you have some childhood trauma, then also you can be a successful person. Then also you can break the patterns and change the route of your life. That doesn't mean to be a successful person you have to you have to pass that traumatical phase, the trauma, the pain and everything. No. These two things have no relation. Like, I've seen many people, even many motivational speaker also talking like you have to bear all the pain. No, don't force yourself to be in the pain. If you are not, but yes, always prepare yourself for the pain. Like, there's a difference, right? Yeah, you have to be emotionally intelligent to understand, like, where do I need to let my pain control me, and where do I have to control my pain, so that they can't create the moments of my life, the chapters of my life. The pain cannot write the chapters of my life. It is me. So it's up to me if I am controlling it or I'm letting pain control me. But yes, I'm again repeating, don't force yourself just to choose a tough path because pain is the real key to success. No, it's just your hard work and consistency, nothing else.
I agree with this as well, truly. We will do a fun finish the thought kind of round now. The most dangerous thing about a silent man is
his silence. Because his inner world is the turmoil of emotions that he has in his mind. He's not explaining it. So his silence is the deadliest weapon, actually.
We only become who we are meant to be when
we met Amalia. So the only heroes that we need in our life, I am truly saying, is Amalia. If we have such Amalias in our life, Abir has it. You'll soon find out when you read the book. So when you get some Amalia in your life, you don't need anything else. You don't need anyone else. Yes, that's for sure. That's the truth. Or you can also find Amalia inside you. It's not like you need a particular thing or a particular person in the shape of Amalia. No. You can also find Amalia inside of you. So when you get Amalia in or out, you can do whatever you want.
So here's to hoping everyone finds their Amalia.
Cheers to Amalia.
Fame is a cage made of
emotions.
When the mirror cracks, the first thing we lose is
when the mirror cracks, the first thing we lose is our own self, our own reflection. So here, reflection doesn't mean your physical appearance. By reflection, I mean your true self, the one that you are inside. And when you come back to the real world, you might feel a break inside of you, but that also makes you who you are.
Every hero needs a Lawrence because...
No Lawrence. Every hero needs Amalia.
Okay, so we are not hoping for Lawrence.
Yeah, like Lawrence, of course, is there. And everybody has their own Lawrence. And to enjoy being Abhi, to enjoy being Lawrence, to be happy with both of them, we need Amalia. That's what.
If you could bring one object from our world through the door to give to young Abhi to prevent Lawrence from being born, what would it be?
If I'm being honest, nothing. Because his journey is... because of his journey, he is what he is today. Right? Because whatever pain he's been through was maybe needed. Whatever circumstances happened in his life made him into who he is today. So no, don't. I don't believe in like if I can just take one thing from my past or I can give one suggestion to my past. No, whatever happens for good. So it's meant to be.
By giving Lawrence a voice and a name, are you teaching us that our shadows are monsters to be defeated? Or are you suggesting that our rage is only simply the only part of us that was ever brave enough to stay awake while we were suffering?
I kind of agree to your point. Yes, of course. We, we have started with this now. We should not pity our anger issues with our own self. We should not be, feared of our own emotions. So that's what Lawrence is here for. Like, out of loneliness, who you become is not what you want to become. So we have to be very careful of because our emotions are the most dangerous and of course the most useful one also, because if we are letting the emotions control us, they are the deadliest weapon for us. If we are controlling the emotions and if we are ourselves controlling the emotions, they are the only support we need. And that's where we draw a fine line between us and our own Lawrence and our own and ourselves.
So, just to inform you all, this is her debut book and this is the first physical launch of the book. So, any, like something that you would like to share, like about the entire journey?
Yeah, so it's like, yes, this is my first physical book launch. But and first, it's okay. One thing is, I am more into non-fictions. Okay, non-fiction learnings, I can say. But on the same note, non-fictions are quite boring for most people, right? For most readers, they want a happening story and all. So I was like, why not blend both of it? So my all the books, like my previous book, also was a blend of fiction and non-fiction, and even this book, it has a beautiful story, and this is the fun part. Like, I'm able to, because when you are a writer, you can bring any character into life. So whatever were my imaginary character, I can actually give words, give some place to my characters through the book. That's the best part of being an author. I'm totally loving my journey because of that reason. So I'm totally, yay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any concluding message to the readers?
So one concluding message I can say, like, people usually ask me to choose between love and loss. So I just want to finish it with one line. You cannot love without losing yourself, and you cannot lose anything without loving yourself. So there is no comparison between the two. You have to just have a good balance, whom to love and what to lose. Because there are absolutely nothing to love, or there could be everything to lose. So that's I just want to let my readers take away from this amazing conversation here with you. And yes, just keep reading.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.